Hi. I'm doing a personality test. I've taken this test before. Let's actually look at the test though, instead of my ugly face. It's not as ugly as it usually is because I just showered, which means my hair's gonna go through the 7 stages of hair grief over the course of this video, probably as it dries. You can't see it because of how I cropped the screen. But this is the 16 Personalities personality test, which has little actual practical merit, but is fun nonetheless. I have taken it before. I got a profile. What was I last time? Let's check it out. Hi Jacob, you're a turbulent mediator. Turbulent sounds about right. Mediator, sure. Apparently I was an inf-t, and I think the T's the turbulent thing, right? Yeah, turbulent. This is what I got last time, which was a while ago, whenever I did this. I don't even remember when I did this. Does it say anywhere? We're gonna retake the test because it's been a while since I did it, and we'll see how I end up. Yeti on his, I'm not gonna tell you what he got. If you want to see what he got, you gotta watch his video. If you want to see what Josh got, you gotta watch his video. Links in the places that links go, up there and down there. We're just gonna go because this is probably gonna take me 8 human lifetimes to do. You make friends easily. Do I? I wouldn't say I do, because I think I'm too awkward in with new people, and it takes me a while, even with people I know, if something changes, for instance, a bunch of friends were in a messenger group, and I knew them all to various levels. At that point, I'd known all of them for about a year at least. One of them was like, hey, come join the messenger group with us. And I was like, okay, I'll join the messenger group. It took me a while to just, even with people I knew, get used to that. So changes in things like that, different scenery, I guess you could call it, throws me for a loop, dude. And I get very quiet, more so than I already am, and very awkward, more so than I already am. What it means to lead a good life is a question that you return to again and again. I'm gonna be honest, not really. It's not something I really think about. I just kind of live my life. This seems a little too general of a thing for me to think about a lot, so I'm gonna disagree with that. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. I mean, yes. Easily. You always do your best to prepare for potential obstacles in advance. Occasionally, not always. I do like to pre-plan certain things, and I always tend to, I spend a lot of time looking back and a lot of time looking forward, but my time looking forward is usually cautionary. I think I'm using that word right. I do it to sort of look for things like this. I'm like, hey, this is something that could come up. How can I be ready if that happens? But I don't do it I'm not hyper obsessive where I do it with everything. I'll certain things. If I think it's something that warrants it, I will do that. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. So this one's tough because I don't stay calm internally. Externally, I like to appear that at least I come off as calm in stressful situations, partly because I feel like it'll help other people around me stay calm too. If they're freaking out and I'm freaking out, that's a no. That's not a good thing to have happening. So I like to at least try to appear calm in most situations, whether or not I actually am, but that's not This isn't considering if I appear calm. This is considering if I am. I'm gonna go slight disagree. Actually, no, we'll split the middle. We'll split the middle on that one. At social events, you rarely try to meet new people and mostly talk to ones you already know. Yes. Next. That was the easiest question of my life. Concrete facts and details, not theories and ideas, are what stick in your memory. It depends on, like, the subject matter. I am pretty detail-oriented. However, with certain things, like, for instance, physics freaking hurts my brain. So I don't get caught up in, like, banal minutia of physics, but I'm aware of theories and ideas around physics. However, stuff like with games, I guess, dude, details and facts, boom, that's like like I can tell you hidden item locations in Pokemon Crystal. A game that I actually haven't, well, it's been like a year, I guess, technically, because I played Vietnamese Crystal, but I haven't actually played for like many a year. So it's very dependent, but I would say most of the time it's details and stuff. Very sentimental. I try not to be, but I definitely am. I'll attach like events and memories to objects pretty often, I think. So I have a hard time letting go of certain objects because like they're a way for me to keep the memories, which makes sense, I think. There are usually certain specific ways you like to do things. Yes, usually. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. Yeah, just a bit. Can I go even more agree? Is that possible? You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Why was that so hard for me to read? Not at all. No. I'm so bad at initiating any sort of conversation. I live my life in that awkward silence most of the time. Like, I have no issue if people want to talk to me, but there's no guarantee that I'll be able to reciprocate a good conversation. And I will most likely not be the one to initiate the conversation. Unless it's someone I, like, know, and have known for a while. Even still, I usually won't be the one to start a conversation. Discussing various interpretations and analyses of a work of art is really not that interesting to you. So I'm thinking like art museum stuff, which is, I'm gonna give that a disagree. Though sometimes it's fun if I'm in the right mood. Like, I like to talk about stuff like this. Like, I feel like Yeti would be a good person to talk about stuff like this with, because he's got the more, I guess you could say, a philosophical kind of brain in that respect, I think. So I can sort of try to match that to an extent and have fun little conversations about effectively nothing at all, but it's fun regardless. You are more inclined, holy cow, we're already 20%. We're freaking going, dude. Let's keep going. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. Yes, I think so. Mainly because my head talks me out of following my heart a lot of the time, is how it works. Not always for the better, but that's just what happens because I'm constantly, like, it ties in, I guess, sort of with doubt and stuff like that. There may be something that I'm like passionate about, but I may not pursue it because in my head I'll be like, it's not worth it, it's not gonna pan out, stuff like that. So that's how I'm choosing to think of this question, and in that sort of headspace, it's middling agree. Even when you plan a particular daily routine, you usually just end up doing what you feel like at any given moment? Unfortunately, I think yes. Like, that's not, and I don't think it's good. It can be good, but I don't think the way I do it is good. And I should probably like I don't have a good routine for a lot of things. Like, I'll do things when, not necessarily when I feel like it, when it pops into my head is when I'll do it. Like, maybe, okay, here's a good example. So COVID vaccines are getting distributed to like different people, at least in Ohio, at like different, based on like certain criteria. So like I'm gonna be getting mine, I think this coming Saturday. Today is the 9th of February for reference, because this probably won't come out today. Go figure. There were forms and stuff we had to fill out for that, and I ended up doing it like the night before, not necessarily because I procrastinated. I may have procrastinated at first, but I did just kind of forget about it, and then I was like, oh shoot, I gotta do this. So I did it. When I remembered. I guess it's not really part of daily routine, but that's sort of like a tangential example of what I mean. I don't really have a routine. I just do things as I recall that I need to do them. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. Nope. Constantly, and for a long time. And like, I still think back to things that happened like years ago, and I'm like, what are you doing, you dummy? Why did you do that? They probably think you're stupid because you did that, even though I've never seen this person again in my life. So that's something that definitely is in my head a lot of the time. You enjoy participating in group activities. This is highly dependent on the group. So like with the messenger group, I enjoy participating in the activities a lot, even though I'm very awkward about it. I really do enjoy spending the time with everyone. But for instance, my senior design project, not that it's a bad group, but it's not a fun time. So it's highly dependent. I'm gonna go slight agree, because at this point most of the group activities is fist chat, so I'm gonna weigh them more heavily. You like books and movies that make you, hold on, my brain broke. You like books and movies that make you work. Why can't I read this? What is wrong with me, dude? What's happening? You like books and movies that make you work to figure out what they are really about. So here's the thing, I don't really read books. I can't even tell you the last time I read a book, honestly. It might actually be like, I did read at least like one of my books for senior English. I've read at least one, maybe two of them. Most of the time I didn't really read the books. Sorry. Sorry, English teacher who I loved very much. She was very sweet and lovely. But I didn't want to read the books. Sorry. Movies. I also don't really watch movies, is the thing. Let's assume I did. I did both of these things. Work to figure out what they're really about. Not really. I guess with a book, sure. With a book, sure. With a movie, nah. I don't care that much. I like to make fun of things unrelated to the actual movie itself, other than that they're things that are happening in the movie. And like with Star Wars, when is it even spoilers at this point? When Leia was like out in space and then she just started floating back to the ship, I laughed at that. That was something. That was certainly something when they pulled that out of nowhere. So stuff like that I enjoy like making fun of or poking fun at, I guess. But I don't really care about the actual substance of the movies a lot of the time. You do your best to take others' feelings into account when deciding something. Extremely, yes. Like, most of the time, let's say, for instance, I'm thinking about, like, saying something. Once again, let's just keep using the messenger group as the example. This goes for, like, any sort of text conversation. I am a heavy backspacer of messages. Like, I'll think of something I want to say in my head, and then it'll go through all my brain filters, of which there are many. X might take a bad way, or is this something that might not come off as sarcastic, which most of the things I say are sarcastic, but maybe this will come off too serious for some reason. Maybe this is a touchy subject for someone, so maybe I don't want to say it, and usually those things will prevent me from saying a lot of the things that I may otherwise say. So stuff like that plays heavily into why I'm quiet, I think. And also in, like, just deciding whether or not to do something. Yeah, I don't have any good examples off the top of my head, but just trust me, this is a strong agree. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. I prefer to? Do I? It really depends. Cause, like, with editing and stuff, at this point, I have 5 projects going, bouncing between, like, 2 or 3 of them as I lose inspiration for one. I'll jump to another where hopefully I've got a little inspiration going, do a bit of editing on that, lose inspiration, jump to another sort of thing, which isn't something I used to do, but I've been doing it now. Normally, I used to be very much like, this is what I'm going to work on, and I will not work on anything else until this is done. But that's kind of changed, I guess. And part of that is I'm not trying to, like, force myself to come up with ideas and stuff. Rather, I'm letting them just sort of come naturally. I think I'd still prefer, even if I don't necessarily do it, I think prefer is the key word here. But I'm still gonna go slight disagree. I think I'd rather, we'll go in the middle. Because I think I would rather just bust out a whole project in one go, but a lot of the time that's not feasible. So I've learned to bounce between a bit better. You're prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worst. Yeah. Just a bit. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. Yes. If I'm forced to, I can, but I definitely would rather not. Mainly because I don't trust myself as a leader. Like, I don't trust myself to make the best decisions. I'd rather be, like, advisory to somebody else than be in charge. You're definitely not an artistic type of person. I think I am. I think everybody's artistic, just in their own sort of way. I'm not, like, crazy artistic. Like, artistic to me is synonymous with creative, which, again, everybody is to various extents. And my hair's starting to do its drying thing. That's good. I'm gonna go here, because I think I am, but not to the extent of a lot of people. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings. Something, something, facts don't care about your feelings, something, something.
Sarah, I already gave the gun show. I can't give the gun show every 5 seconds. I mean, what do you want from me, Sarah? I can't give the gun show all day long.
Anyway, let's hard pivot. I think you need a fair split between the two. You need to consider other people's feelings, for sure, but you also can't only consider other people's feelings. Likewise, you can't only consider what is, like, an objective good in all situations. You have to consider how other people feel. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. Procrastination. Disagree. I wish I was over here, but I'm not. I'm sorry to say, I'm just not over there. Your mood can change very quickly. Yes. I don't really know what more to add to that, I guess. It's not just like spontaneous, like nothing, like no reason, like suddenly I'm very sad right now. It's not like that. There needs to be some sort of trigger for it, right? Something needs to happen. But if a certain thing happens, it can flip my mood very quickly. Frequent alone time is a necessity for you. Dude, I spend most of my time in my room, so yeah, and I don't mind. And it gives me time to I spend a lot of time just in my own head, which isn't always good, but I think I need it a lot of the time. Just because of how I am, I guess. I don't know. You like hearing different perspectives on social or political issues. I do. I actually very much do, because it helps to create my own, and it gives me different ways of looking at situations that I might not consider because I might not have, like, I don't have the same experiences as other people, so I have to understand where they're coming from, and I can take that into consideration when formulating my own opinions. I feel like having a lot of, like, you don't want to be in some sort of echo chamber is my thing, right? You want to hear lots of voices. You have to be able to tune out the irrational voices, though. Like not necessarily irrational, extreme voices. You have to be able to filter those and understand that they are extreme opinions, but hearing them is still fine, I think, as long as you understand that. You'd rather work with a competent person than a nice one. Why not both, though? I'm gonna disagree. I think I'd rather have a nice person, even if they're bad at doing what they do, because I think I'm a good person at like say they don't understand something. I feel like I'm usually able to explain things well so that people can understand them. It may take me a while to explain it well, but eventually it'll get there. So I'd rather have someone who's not just a big old jerk. Honestly. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. Yeah. It's not always the best, but sometimes it's fine. But usually it's not always the best. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Slight degree, I guess. I don't know. That's a tough one to think about. I feel like that's where I am. Not 100% sure though. That seems about right, I guess. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. It depends on the others, but whereas let's assume half the time people I'm close with, half the time just randos. In which case, sorry, I think the randos have a stronger pull than the friendos. No offense to the friendos at all, because I definitely, if you are the others, I'd 100% rather be around you than by myself. But if it's the randos, very much no thanks. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. I don't think I do. Again, it depends on like the topic, but generally speaking, I would say I don't mind it at all. Usually it ends up being pretty interesting. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yours. I think I'm a very empathetic person. I don't know. It feels weird to say. Like, I feel like calling myself that is weird, but I think it's true. But some people it is very difficult for me to empathize with, even though I will definitely try to empathize with everyone. But I think most of the time I am able to empathize with a person. Whether or not I verbalize that empathy is a different story, but feeling the empathy itself, I think I can do pretty well with most people. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. Yeah. I waited until like one of the last possible moments, even though I had already in my head made the decision a while back. I waited until like the very last moment to actually say, hey, I'm going to Cleveland State University, just for an example, right? Like, there's other such examples, hence why it's a strong agree. But that's just the first one that popped into my head. Like, I like to wait very long to make a decision. First of all, I don't like to make a lot of decisions, and if it's something that I have to do, I like to wait as long as possible, just in case things change or something comes up. I don't like to already have it set in stone that, hey, this is what I decided on, because you never know what can happen. Even though this is certainly can be like an issue, waiting too long to do things. But yeah, it's something I definitely do. You rarely second guess the choices you have made. Almost constantly. Definitely daily. Definitely multiple times a day. And it can be anything from something that I just did like earlier in the day, or it could be something from 10 years ago, right? It can be any of those things. Whenever my brain decides, hey, you're gonna think about this and think about how you could have done it better and how you might have made the wrong choice. So that's always fun. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. No, not my thing. Not my thing. You often contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. I'm gonna say agree. Not in an extremely philosophical sort of way, but I do consider it a bit. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. Disagree. You like to have a to-do list for each day. Disagree. I can't even think of a time I've made a to-do list for a day. I probably should. Actually, no, I definitely have, but they're not like exhaustive in any way. Like, it's usually like one or two things where I'm like, hey, this needs to get taken care of. Maybe not even that day, but at some point. And I'm gonna forget about it, so I'm gonna write it in like a note on my computer, because then I'll see it. And something that's interesting about that, usually just writing something down makes it so I don't even need to have it written down. I'll just remember it then. Sometimes I do need the actual physical visualness of it, but usually just going like, hey, I need to do this assignment, and just writing that down, it'll stick it in my head and I won't forget it. That was kind of unrelated. You rarely feel insecure. Constantly. You can spend entire weekends all by yourself without feeling bored. Yes, I can. I can either just get lost in my thoughts, which usually isn't the best, or I can find things to do, right? It's not a big deal. You spend time and effort trying to understand views and positions that are very different from your own. I'm gonna put that there because I do, but it's also something I don't like to bother people with. Like, I feel like asking people about their opinions on a lot of things is just a hassle for them, and it's not something they need to concern themselves with giving me. So I do a lot of it, again, just in my head. And it's not even necessarily like asking people. Like, I may just sort of piece it together based on things they've said in the past, stuff like that. Examples come to mind, but I don't know if I want to just say them outright. But yeah, usually I do like to, like, again, with the whole different perspectives stuff, just in general, different perspectives, I like to hear a lot of different perspectives if I can. Anti-echo chamber and whatnot, even if it's just trivial topics or viewpoints about things that don't actually like matter but are just fun. You often talk about your feelings and emotions. I very much don't. I kind of wish I did, though, because I feel like it would be helpful to me to do that, but I won't go out of my way to do it, for sure. Like Yeti, for example. He had to ask me, like, and this was also something that I just didn't really think about, like the what's your type thing. Like, I don't talk about any of that stuff, like, ever at all, and I rarely think about it to myself even. Unless I'm pushed to talk about something like that, I won't talk about it. You don't have to push hard for me to talk about it. Literally just asking me about it most of the time will be enough. But if you don't ask, most of the time I'm not going to say anything, is sort of where I fall. I keep all that stuff to myself unless I know somebody wants to know it, because otherwise I assume people don't care. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. No, not really. It might be a strong disagree. It depends on the plan, but most of the time I just kind of go with the flow, or try to at least. You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. Yes, very much. Very, very much. Alright, in your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. Most of the time, no. There are a few situations where I will. Like, as far as fist chat. Oops, did I pop it up on the screen? I might have popped that up on the screen, so we'll just cut that out. Well, anyway, what I was saying, but with like fist chat, which is our messenger chat, if you are not aware, no chance I'm gonna initiate any sort of thing. I mean, I rarely talk as it is, right? So I'm not gonna go in there and be like, yo, who wants to play a game? Or anything like that, right? It's just, I don't know. I just feel like, again, I feel like stuff like that, I'm just bothering people. So I never do it. Because I only want, if they initiate it, then I know they want to do it. If I initiate it, I have no idea if they even want to do it. So I just assume they don't. Which isn't always, it's most of the time probably a bad assumption to make, and stops me from doing a lot of things. But it's something I do, right? It is what it is, I guess. I mean, I should definitely like work to do that less, and not be afraid to be like, hey, do you guys want to do X thing? Do we have a visitor? We have a sleepy visitor. Hello, sleepy visitor. You're gonna scream a little bit? That's fine. You can do that. I don't know what you're screaming about. As long as you don't start chewing on things, you're fine. Otherwise, we'll have to extract you. He's gonna just lay there? He's gonna just lay there. Alright. Look at this boy. Hopefully I don't mess things up. Can you see him? Look at him. He's just hanging out. Did I put it back in the right spot and everything? Fantastic. That was easy. It's annoying to put this where I have it, because I just have it on my monitor, but the back of my monitor is slanted like this out, so it's got like a point, so I have to put it to the side and angle my camera, so it's annoying to find the right spot where it stays and doesn't go like that or go like that. But he's done it. Very skilled. I'll accept my award. I don't even remember what I was talking about, honestly. We're gonna assume I finished talking about this, and we're gonna move on. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. Disagree. I think it's very fun. And also useful. Again, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head. Dude, my hair, it's dry now. Can you tell? You take a great care not to make people feel foolish when you're explaining something. Very much. And this is something extremely important for me as a coach, because I want to make sure, especially with like the newer kids, right? I don't want them to get discouraged. I want to make sure that they feel comfortable and they feel confident as much as they can. So if I'm explaining something, I make sure I'm not gonna go up to them and be like, you're doing it wrong. I'll be like, try doing it like this, and see if that feels better or something like that, right? Especially, it's super big with wrestling because there's so much technique involved. It's like 90% technique, especially like this year I'm teaching, I guess not teaching, well, coaching, interchangeable, I guess. I'm coaching our youth team. I'm helping coach our youth team, not the solo coach and not the head coach. Like with the younger kids, it's super important. With the junior high, which is the main team that I've been coaching for like the past, at this point, 6 years. Holy freaking cow, dude. Like I've known a lot of those kids, so we can joke around a bit, right? I can mess with them and be like, what are you doing, dude? Come on, you know how to do this. But and that won't affect them negatively, really, because they know I'm messing around with them. And I'll still obviously make sure they're doing things the right way. But with the new kids, it's super important that I make them feel as comfortable and confident as I can. What are you doing? Look at this. You can't see him? Oh my gosh. Look at this boy. What is he doing? Bud. What are you doing? You're so weird, man. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. I've said it a billion times in like every single one of my update videos. I work in bursts, and I still do. So I'm gonna have to highly agree with that one. Stop. Bud. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take for them to feel disappointed in you. Honestly, yes. I don't like... I mean, obviously you like to get praise, but whenever I get praise, it's immediately... like, I try to downplay it as much as humanly possible, because I don't like when people... I don't want people to be disappointed in me. So I downplay any sort of credit they give me as much as I can, usually. I'm trying to get better about it. I don't accept praise well, really, is what this comes down to. I'm very bad at taking any sort of compliments, and usually try to dismiss them as much as I can. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Honestly, yeah. I prefer to do a lot of work alone, like sticking with the channel and stuff, right? I don't really do collaborations, even though this is the extent to which I do collaborations, right? It's our group, we're all doing the same sort of video, but we're doing it on our own still, right? Even though they all sort of go together to an extent, they're independent entities. And I'm computer science, right? So that kind of, there's a lot of working alone sort of mentality in general with computer science, which is shifting because there's stuff like pair programming, and obviously like you need to be able to communicate with other people. But especially if you're like at a big sort of, like for instance, like a big game studio, right? You're gonna need to talk with the other programmers because you're all collaborating on the same sort of thing and make sure you're all on the same page. But you can work alone for a decent amount of the time. You're always curious about why something happened the way it did. Extremely. I think a lot about stuff like that. Are you still? No, he's gone. Oh, he's up there. I don't know what he's doing, but he's up there on my bed. Like, this is something, like, I've been kind of watching a lot in the background, but I've still been like processing a decent amount of, there's this channel called SEA, all capitals, and they do a lot of videos about like space and stuff, and space is something I've always found like extremely fascinating. The whole like why did this happen the way it did sort of thing is highly like constant in space and stuff, because there's still a lot of things in space that aren't understood. Taking like steps down from that, there's a ton of things in space I just straight up don't understand at all, right? I'm not like an astrophysicist, I'm not an astronomer, nothing like that, right? I'm not a cosmologist. I was like, wait a second, is that the right one? Cosmetology is the makeup one. I was like, wait a second, am I saying the right word here? I'm saying the right word. Cosmology. The study of the cosmos. But that's like a constant question relating to space stuff and just science in general, right? So, and also programming, like debugging stuff. Got your program, you run it, and then something happens and you're like, huh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Why did that happen? And then you gotta go through, figure out why it happened, figure out what you can do to make it not happen. So stuff like that. So this all ties in, right? Extremely strongly agree. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. I would say I usually can glean that off of someone. If I can see their face, I can usually tell how they're feeling. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Slight agree, maybe? That's an interesting one. I don't really know where I fall. Because there are things I do methodically. he said do. There are things I do methodically, but there are other things I definitely don't. And most of the time, the methodology is my own sort of thing that I've just sort of casually created for something where it's something I do a lot. I've got my own sort of routine for it that I'll go through, even though I don't follow a daily routine. As far as specific things are concerned, there's usually like a process to it that I will generally follow, not specifics. This part, the skipping over any steps, I do a lot of like combining of things together, right? Because I'm like, how can I make this take less time? A lot. So there's some skippage going on usually, and some combining of things. So I'm gonna go slight agree. You often feel overwhelmed. I think I'm gonna go here. It might be this, but I'm gonna go here. And just say I'm being hyperbolic, thinking that I'm overwhelmed that much. But I definitely do feel overwhelmed fairly often, even if I don't like to show that I am. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. Disagree. Next, we've already talked about that. You prefer art that has a clear message or meaning rather than art that is vague and open to interpretation. I can take either. Because I like the open and vague for, like, talkability, and I like the clear, like, message and purpose for just not having to think a lot about it, because you don't always want to think about things, right? Sometimes you want to think a lot. Sometimes you don't really want to think a lot, and you just want them to just be like, hey, it's this. Next, right? So I'm gonna split the difference. If you think your actions might upset others, you are very careful to assess whether they are worth it. We already talked about that a lot with the other question that was similar to this. Extremely agree, right? I'm backspace king. Backspace master is my alter ego. What am I even? I'm just saying words right now, and they don't really mean anything. But this is a super strong agree. You struggle with deadlines. Yes, I do. And a lot of that ties in with, like, procrastination. And also just in general, I don't like to, like with my videos, again, bringing it back to my videos, I never like to set a deadline for my videos because it's kind of like they're done when they're done. Even though I should have a deadline for them. And this is why I'd never be able to, like, do anything. Well, I guess I could. Not that I would. I wouldn't. But in some hypothetical world where I set up like a Patreon or something, I think you can set it to be like, okay, you'd get this much per video you put out, which would be the model I would use, right? Because I'm not going to just take money per month when I put out not a lot of videos per month, if even one. But like the month thing would sort of force deadlines for me and be like, hey, you gotta get videos like done. So that's something I don't think I'd be able to do. I've tried deadlines before, and they just haven't worked for me. It doesn't work well. I like to be able to work at my own pace, which realistically is not practical in the real world, right? But in an ideal world, I would work at my own pace and be much happier as a result. All right. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Usually, no, I don't. Again, I doubt a lot. Is this the end? Are we done? We're done. That was the last question. Okay, we can talk about it for a bit then. I just got thrown off. I was like, where's the next? Let's just see results. What's happening? Okay, so how I'm gonna discuss this one. I like to be confident for other people. I'm very not confident regarding myself. I'm very doubtful of my abilities, doubtful of like what I want to do in the future, where I see myself in like X number of years. I never have any idea, right? I have no clue, and I never have. It's just like I can't see that for me for whatever reason. I can't like prospect my life like that. It just doesn't work. And to an extent, I think that plays into the lack of confidence and the doubt and whatnot, but a lot of it's also just my head. And I'm an extremely anxious person with most things, as you've probably been able to gather through a lot of my answers. I stress about a lot of things, even little things, even if like I don't like to show that I am, but I'm pretty much constantly worrying about things and thinking, oh, what if this happens and it goes wrong? a lot of my thoughts are very negative in that regard, which is not good. And I wish they weren't, but they are. And I think it's gotten worse over the years too, which isn't great. But yeah, I don't know. It's just not, I don't have a good outlook regarding myself on a lot of things. And that's just kind of how it is for me at the moment, at least. Well, that was a fun note to stop on. Let's see my results. Oh, where am I gonna end up? I'm still a mediator, hey! Alright. I can't say what I was gonna say. Never mind. I wasn't gonna say anything. I can't even like comment on what I was gonna say. So I'm gonna leave you in mystery. Alright. 90% introverted. That sounds about right. I think I've gotten even more introverted over the years. COVID certainly hasn't helped with that. I'm extremely introverted. I spend a lot of my time just by myself, sort of working in my room. I don't talk to a lot of people very much. And like, as far as like even with the messenger chat, most of the time I'm just listening, right? I'm not weighing in a lot with how I feel about things or commenting on things. And if I am, it's either like a little like a sad attempt at a joke usually, or like commenting reassurance of some sort, which I guess falls into like the mediator sort of thing. Energy. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what intuitive means. We're gonna skip that one. This has shifted a lot. I used to be INTP, but clearly things have shifted a lot for me towards feeling rather than thinking. And I don't really know what's been a catalyst for that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe coaching, maybe getting to know like Fist Chat group better has all sort of affected, and maybe just being around them has influenced it some. But this is, holy cow, it's getting a little chonky on this side. 90% turbulent. That's, oh my gosh, dude. That's extremely right. Straight underpins all others, showing how confident we are in our abilities and decisions. I'm not is the thing, right? I'm not confident in most things I do. Oh, prospecting. I used that word. I'm so smart, dude. I used the word when I was talking about, like, I can't prospect my future, but apparently I can. In regards to this. And I think this is like sort of thinking about future repercussions of things. Let's read, shall we? Actually, update my profile. Update it. Start reading. This is a lot to read. Honestly, I don't know how much time I have. So I'm going to record an outro first. So I at least have an outro. And then we'll go through this. If you want to take the quiz, link in the description. Why did I point here? This isn't the description. This is the description. But yeah, I don't know. I'm so bad at outros, dude. Why am I so bad at outros? If you want to, which you should check out Yeti's and Josh's 16 Personalities quizzes, which at this point are a little old, but not old enough that they aren't still a good time. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you know a little bit more about me now, I guess. Because this isn't really something I do a lot of. So I think it's probably nice to give you guys more insight into me. Because these aren't, like I said, these aren't things I talk about, really, unless I'm prompted to talk about them, which this has prompted me to do. So I've discussed them, and hopefully you had fun. Yikes. hopefully you had fun. And I'll see you next time with, I don't actually know what. I don't know when this is coming out. I've got a billion things I'm working on. So maybe one of those. Alright? Alright. Glad we're on the same page in that we're not on any page at all. Once again, turbulent individual. So I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys with whatever happens next. Goodbye.